Using Bloomlife was actually a total godsend for me. It was my second pregnancy, and I had already had my son, and with him, I really struggled to know if I was ever having a contraction. My doctor would ask me, are you having contractions? Have you had Braxton Hicks contractions? And I always looked at her and said, maybe. And I said, you know, how am I gonna know when it's time? And she said, oh, you'll know. And sure enough, came time that it was time, but in the very beginning of labor, I'd say the first few hours of labor, I didn't know if I was having a stomachache or if I was having contraction. You know, you get stressed out and all the pressure of, is it time? Is it not time? Do I need to go to the hospital? Do I not? So second time around, I saw an ad for Bloomlife, and I was just so excited at the potential that it had for me. I started using it in my third trimester. Honestly, the ease of the app, I could see how often my contractions were happening, if they were happening, if they weren't happening, and it was really nice to be able to just use the app and have all the information that I had right there. You could see all of the levels of the contractions. I could tell, oh, this is a big one, and look and just watch it grow on the screen and know that what I was feeling actually was tracking, and what I was seeing was what I was feeling. Bloomlife actually stopped me from going to the hospital probably 3 or 4 times when I would have thought it's definitely time. I was able to see that my contractions were not regular and were kind of all over the place, or they'd start and then I think that they'd keep going or increasing and they'd just kind of taper off and stop. So it was really nice to be able to see that. When it was time, I was able to track my contractions instead of counting them myself or trying to focus on an app where you click the button every time you're having a contraction, which just gets completely out of hand when you're actually in pain. It was nice to just rely on the counter. And actually, when I got to the hospital, I told all the nurses about it and they had to see it. They were really excited and they actually begged for Bloomlife to become very popular so that they can use it in the hospital. As a dad, you're not feeling what I'm feeling. And so for him, it was always, what are you feeling? Are you having a contraction? Are you not having a contraction? And I think it stressed me out not being able to answer him or tell him what it felt like. And so he'd say, are you having a contraction? I just shove him my phone with Bloomlife. I didn't have to say anything. I just pass over the phone and he was like, oh, that was a big one. I was like, yes, I know, I'm feeling it. But it was just nice to not have him trying to guess what I was feeling, because once you are actually in labor, looking at a woman in labor, you don't know if they're having one, if they're not. And I think we have a rule with both pregnancies to not really talk to me during each contraction. So it was nice when he could see the contractions happening and know, okay, I'm just gonna leave her alone for a few minutes. I've actually already recommended it to a bunch of my friends, told them it's a must have. It's your comfort, your safety net. It's such a great opportunity to be able to use it and to trust it and know, to trust your own body even. It's really hard when you are second guessing yourself. And it's nice to use it to its fullest extent. So I know at first I was scared because I didn't want to overuse the patches or use it too much, but I'd say don't be scared, use it, get used to it, get familiar with it. You can always ask for more patches. You can always turn it on or off as much as you want, and recharge it as much as you want. So use it, get comfortable with it, and then when it is time, you'll know that you trust the system and you understand it fully. Bloomlife provided me absolute comfort in knowing that I could trust what I was feeling. I think the first time around, I just doubted everything and just wasn't sure. So I guess it provided reassurance and comfort for me.